French toast, ribollita, Thanksgiving stuffing. These are all dishes that breathe new life into day-old bread. Now, Elle's here, and she's going to show us another option, which is one of my favorites, Spanish migas.
That's right, and migas literally translates to crumbs. And this makes all the sense because the key to this Spanish and Portuguese dish is getting the bread right. I have here 9 ounces of rustic crusty bread. If you have stale bread sitting around the house, that works just as well. But this recipe works with bread at any degree of freshness.
That is good news because I don't have to wait a day.
That's right. We're gonna start by making a little bit of a bath for the bread. This is going to help us get that chewy but crunchy texture that we want. So this is a 1/3 cup of water.
Okay.
To it, I'm gonna add 1/2 teaspoon of salt and 1/2 teaspoon of paprika. I'm gonna just whisk this until the salt dissolves. All right, so now we can prep the bread. We're gonna cut the bottom off, the crusty bottom.
Yeah, that's always just a little too hard to absorb anything.
Too chewy for me. And then I'm gonna slice it about 3/4 of an inch. And then I'm gonna cut them into 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch cubes.
That is good bread, though. It's fighting back.
Yeah, it is.
That's a good sign.
All right, these are looking good. That looks great. So I'm gonna put them inside of our little bread bath of salt and paprika, which is gonna impart so much more smokiness to this already smoky, delicious dish. And we have to knead it. You need to knead it.
You need to knead it?
You need to knead it.
Are you creating the migas, the crumbs?
I am. And what you're looking for here is some big pieces, you want some small pieces, and you want a little bit of crumb in there. And if by chance you're not getting that and your water is absorbing pretty quickly, you can just add more water. Unfortunately, I have some here. 1 tablespoon at a time.
And these aren't supposed to be like saturated. You couldn't
No.
squeeze out the water afterwards.
Not at all.
Gotcha.
Not at all. All right.
Looks crummy.
It's very crummy. So now we're gonna prep the chorizo and the bacon. I have 6 ounces of chorizo. I know you want the sausage bits. It's the best part. I'm gonna half it lengthwise.
Oh, and this is Spanish chorizo.
Yes, it is.
Like cured, harder sausage. Oh,
All right, so now that I've cut them lengthwise, I'm gonna cut them into 1/4 inch slices.
okay.
Okay?
Little half moons.
Yeah. Chorizo, done. This was 6 ounces.
Okay.
And I have 2 pieces of thick cut bacon here. I'm gonna cut these into 1/2 inch pieces.
Okay. Oh, little batons.
Yes. This bacon is going to impart some smokiness.
Yeah, I've had some versions where it's just chorizo or there's a little bit of ham in there.
Oh yeah.
Bacon's gonna be great. It's also gonna pick up on that smoked paprika, that smoky background.
Oh yeah. You can use almost any kind of ham in this dish. There's no wrong answers here.
I love the way you think.
Okay, so I'm done cutting the bacon. We have our chorizo ready. Let's start to cook.
Let's cook.
So I have a 12-inch nonstick skillet here. To it, I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil. And we're starting in a cold pan. That's really important. Starting in a cold pan allows the bacon an actual time to render. If you start in a hot pan, the fat kind of like seizes inside of the bacon and then it's chewy, and that's not what we want.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just gonna add 4 cloves of garlic. They need to be smashed. The garlic's gonna give us an extra boost of flavor. I'm gonna go in with the chorizo and the bacon. Spread that out there.
Look at the flavor that's already in this skillet.
It's a migas in the bacon. I'm just gonna cook it over medium heat. This is going to go for 6 to 8 minutes, and we're just looking for the bacon to crisp a little around the edges, but we have to stir it frequently to get that,
Okay.
okay? All right, so it's been 6 minutes. The chorizo is brown, the bacon has nice crispy edges. I think it's time to get it out of here. I'm gonna use a slotted spoon, and I'm not going to keep the garlic. It has done its job and given us this liquid gold. I'm gonna reserve 2 tablespoons of this fat. Look how golden and beautiful that is. And I'm gonna pour the rest of this over the bread.
Oh.
Amen. So now I'm gonna just toss this bread a little bit, get that oil all over the place. And I'm gonna put in the skillet. Can you turn that to medium high for me?
bet.
Thank you. All right, so we're gonna put this in our now empty skillet and let it cook for 12 to 15 minutes. I want all of these crumbs, all of them.
They're gonna fry in that fat.
Oh yeah.
This is the best day ever, Elle.
I know. I love a dish where nothing gets wasted. That is my whole bag. Okay, so you just want this browned and crisp throughout. It takes about 12 to 15 minutes. You want the larger pieces to have a little crisp on the outside and be moist on the inside.
But no charring.
No charring.
Okay.
All right, so while we let this cook and stir occasionally, I'm gonna prep the peppers.
I'll keep an eye on it for you.
Please do. So we have 2 Cubanelle peppers and 1 red bell pepper. The Cubanelle peppers are gonna give us a little bit of tartness, and the red bell pepper is gonna give us some sweet.
I love Cubanelle peppers. They're that little tart, little bitter, very refreshing flavor.
Yeah. All right, I'm just going to take the tops off, cut it down the middle, take the ribs out, take the seeds out.
That's where a lot of that bitterness is.
And we're gonna cut these into 1/2-inch pieces. All right. So now I'm gonna cut the red peppers, and these also get cut into 1/2-inch pieces.
Okay.
I'm gonna finish cutting all the peppers, and we'll just keep an eye on the bread.
Okay.
All right, so it's been 12 minutes. This bread is nice and crusty.
Croutons.
Croutons is brown, but not charred. Squeeze it, it's a little softness
It's
in there.
still soft.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's get it out of this pan into the bowl.
Oh, listen to that sound.
That's the sound. That's the sound.
Raining crumbs.
All right, so now we're going to use 1 tablespoon of our 2 tablespoons reserved oil.
That's that bacon chorizo.
Yeah, it is. All right, so it's on medium high, and I'm gonna add our peppers and let these cook for 3 to 5 minutes. We just want them blistered. I'm gonna add 1/2 teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of paprika. Just give it a stir. And we only wanna cook this for 3 to 5 minutes until the peppers are charred. All right, it's been about 3 to 5 minutes. We're getting a nice char there.
Oh, a little blistery
Yeah,
there.
little blister.
Smells great.
Okay, that looks good. Now I'm just gonna add the chorizo back in the pan for about 30 seconds just to reheat it.
Oh,
That's been about 30 seconds.
that's the longest 30 seconds I can ever remember.
Okay, so I'm gonna add a teaspoon of chopped parsley and 1/2 teaspoon of sherry vinegar. Yeah, this for a little kick punch. I love this part, the building of the flavors. It's my favorite part of making this dish. Okay, so now I'm just gonna add it to our breadcrumbs. Give it a toss. Oh my goodness. That looks and smells divine. All right, we're just gonna set this aside and start working on our eggs. Okay, so we finally get to make the eggs that will go on top of this beautiful Spanish migas. And we're gonna start with some of the flavors that we began with, right? This golden, beautiful chorizo and bacon fat.
That's the remaining tablespoon.
That's the end of it. This is the last of the fat.
No fat left behind.
No. All right, I'm gonna swirl it around the pan, and we'll know it's ready to cook when the oil is shimmering and we had it on, so it's ready. I have a quick cooking method. I have broken 6 eggs up into 2 bowls, and I'm doing this so that all the eggs can cook at the same time.
Love it.
So I'm gonna put the eggs on one side, 3 on one side, 3 on the other side. We're gonna cover it right away. I like a runny egg, so I'm gonna let it cook for a minute,
Okay.
and then I'm gonna take it off the heat for 15 to 45 seconds.
All right.
Okay, so this is ready. Let's transfer it to the top of our migas. Look at that, our beautiful, beautiful eggs for beautiful migas. And we're gonna finally top it with a little bit of parsley for beauty and elegance. It's 1 teaspoon of minced parsley. All right, that looks gorgeous.
We're like 8 blocks past gorgeous. It's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen.
And it's gonna taste equally as delicious.
Let's tuck in.
All right, you wanna eat?
Yes, I do.
Okay, okay.
The crying and open weeping wasn't enough of a signal. Oh,
I like to build anticipation,
well, it's working. What a lovely thing to present.
right? If you love me, you'll feed me migas. All right, let's dig in. Oh, look at that.
That's perfection.
Oh my gosh.
All right, I'm going to get
is
some
great.
of this beautiful bread.
A little bread, a little meat. This is just wow. It's better every time. A little crunchy vegetable moment, and then you get that spicy kick of the chorizo.
The flavors just build with every single bite.
Every bite.
And that's because it's all infused with that beautiful chorizo and bacon fat. It's gorgeous. And the peppers, They've still got some texture, but I love that little bit of blistering, that char.
Yeah, the smokiness.
This is as good as it gets.
Yes, it is.
Enjoy cooking with you.
Likewise.
Well, to make Spanish migas with fried eggs at home, knead cubes of rustic bread with seasoned water, then crisp the bread in rendered chorizo and bacon fat. Blister peppers in the skillet, and then use that skillet to fry eggs. So from America's Test Kitchen, you are going to want to make this Spanish migas with fried eggs. And you can get this recipe and all the recipes from this season, along with product reviews and select episodes, on our website. That's americastestkitchen.com/TV.
Oh yeah.
And I am going to want to eat it.
Thanks for watching America's Test Kitchen. What'd you think?
Well, leave a comment and let us know which recipes you're excited to make, or you can just say hello.
You can find links to today's recipes and reviews in the video description.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
See you later.
I'll see you later.